Now,
Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. We're your hosts, Big Easy from Philbilly Moonshine, and the one and only Moonshiner's Master Distiller, Sean Rigsby.
what's happening, folks? How we doing tonight?
How you doing tonight, Sean?
Better than I deserve, I guess. Except for
Hey,
the fact I got to work tomorrow, like the rest of the public.
most of the public.
Yeah, well, let's roll with that one. But hey,
Did you have a good weekend?
it wasn't bad. Wasn't
Nice.
bad. Yeah, trying to get some shit done, shipped out. It's
Yeah, I know how that is. Yeah,
way of
I
life.
got a hot week ahead of me, so I'm soaking up this AC right now.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, well, I only got a 4 day week though, so shouldn't be too bad. Taking Friday off and going down to Beattyville, Kentucky.
Yep, I'll be there too.
Looking forward to
I
that.
ain't gonna be able to get there as early as you, so I'll be there in the evening. So
Yeah, well, we're gonna get there in the evening too, because she started work. She took a job, and so I'm gonna pick her up down there in Middletown. So
okay.
she was just wanting something so she could stay busier. So, well,
So when I'm drinking on today, in case you wonder, it's our buddy Noble Tucky. This is his
Noble Tuck.
blueberry elderberry.
Is that any good?
Yeah, it is. It's real nice. I was supposed to share some of it with you, so when you come over, man, you get a drink out of the jar.
Hell yeah, sounds good to me, man. So I
Yeah,
got a few.
but
Go ahead.
Noble Tucky from TikTok, he come up to New Strathsville and brought us a jar. Well, swapped me a jar for some peach brandy, and he had a
Hell
bunch
yeah,
of other shit. He gave me like 4 jars of different shit. I like the clear, so I'm gonna drink on his
man. I don't
elderberry
blame you.
blueberry. I really like it. So
Clear's always the way to go. Unfortunately, it's not. I don't have it. I mean, I do, but uh, I picked a few other drinks tonight, but they're not clear. But anyway, the first one I got, I'd say, is the old fancy Bush Light apple. Um, and then Bondurant Brothers.
I don't think I've tried that one.
No, if you don't like Fireball, I don't want to say you might not like this because this is not. This is infused through a Tennessee Thumper Stills,
Oh, mason jars.
6 jars.
Now I'm not a fan of Fireball, but
Yep,
I don't mind Goldschlager.
I've never had that.
With the gold flakes in it, it makes you
Yep.
feel a little bougie, a little redneck bougie. I'm fancy, and I think it's cleaner, and they don't pack as much of that artificial flavor in it. So if I like the Goldschlager a little better. I don't, I'm not really a big fan of either one, but if I had to choose,
Yep. Well, that's one thing too, man. I'm not real big on cinnamon stuff because I mean it goes a long way.
yeah, a little
But
goes a long way.
that's why I like Roberts though because it's infused with it. It's not just take them fucking things and
Yeah,
just dump them in there, dump a bunch of cinnamon in it. I mean,
yeah. Now I tried some infusion once back in the day with cinnamon sticks when I was in my straight arm phase. It's the column
oh yeah,
connector, and I packed a column with copper mesh and cinnamon sticks. Boy, that stuff come out so hot. It was like Fireball's older stepbrother.
yeah,
But man, it came out really good, and it's not a bad way to make some Fireball moonshine by packing your column or jars with cinnamon sticks. But
yeah. And
be
I know,
ready, be ready for it to be strong. So
yeah, I know some of them cinnamon sticks though are stronger than others. I don't know why or what it is, but
and it could be how they was handled, how they was packed, how old they are.
hell yeah.
Because cinnamon sticks, they ain't like me, man. They don't age like a fine wine.
Well, we're a half bottle of whiskey that's been opened 20 years ago. But also one
So
other. Go ahead.
where's Bondurant at?
Chase City, Virginia, right next door to Franklin County. And if anybody is has not heard of Bondurant, if you've seen the movie called Lawless, his grandpa was Jack, I believe. So there's a lot of history there, and he tried to keep the tradition alive, making the same old recipes, and he's doing a good job out there.
So
Real
you
good
said
job.
that was over in Virginia?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Chase City, Virginia. Yep. And they were actually on that episode or that TV show of where Tim was going around when they first.
American Spirit.
No,
No.
it was before that where he was going around to distilleries and going in and redoing things and shit like that. Kind of like.
Kind of like bar rescue style. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Yep. I think that was the very first episode, first or second one. But yeah, you have to go back and check that out on Discovery Plus if you got it.
If not, I got away.
That's right.
I'll watch anything I want for free. So.
Well, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but
well, it ain't never free. You always got to pay for something. So.
Oh yeah, you're paying for the internet or something. But also, the last thing I'm drinking on is JB Raiders Honey Crisp Apple, 60 proof, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I don't think I tried that one. I remember that was is that out of Adventure Distilling?
Yeah. Yep.
Where we went over and we met Kelly.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And I think we tried the 103, I believe. Was it 103?
Yep.
Clear.
And this is actually the one I got that day.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we got to try the pineapple before it was released.
That was some good shit.
While we was there, yeah, I was it's always cool when you go into places and they let you try stuff that ain't come out yet, and then you're at home and you hear them, it comes out, and you're like, bro, I got to try that before it hit the shelf. How cool is that?
Fuck yeah, man. But so what all you got on your mind tonight?
Well, I was I want to hear the ins and outs of your master distiller experience. I want to start at the beginning. I want to hear all about the the recruiting process up to the point where you went there, and why you was there and how it went down. So I know a lot of people they apply for master distiller, and I know you're not supposed to say anything if you do apply for master distiller. Right. So I understand that. So was it something that was brought to you and you applied to go on there like some other guys have? Or tell me how that all started.
So back in, I feel like it was 2018. I can't remember.
18, 19, somewhere in there.
Yeah, when the pilot episode came about. So
you filmed in 2020, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that later. That's a whole other part of the story. So I'm jumping ahead. I'm excited, Sean. I'm excited. I want to hear the story. I want everybody else to hear the story too.
Sorry about that.
Keep your phone from vibrating around and stuff, man. Come on.
So I was at home one day and my phone went off and it said New York. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know nobody that lives out in New York. And I said, well, I answered it. And they were like, hey, this is, I think her name was Noelle at the time, or Noel or whatever. She said, hey, this is Noelle with McGill Entertainment. We're thinking about doing a distillation competition show. And I was wondering if you would be on it. Someone passed your name along and said you may be a good fit. So I figured I'd give you a call and ask.
So they contacted you before the first season, before they even ever ran one show of it, before the pilot episode and all that.
Yep.
How cool is that, man? These people they're calling you saying, hey, man, we heard you make liquor.
So at the time I was like, well, yeah, I'll be interested. And so they're like, when can we set up a phone interview? So we were talking. I told them, I'm like, all right, well, let me get off here. And so when I got off, I called the person that they were talking about that passed my name along. I'm like, hey, is this true? They're like, yeah. So, but anyway, so I done the phone interview. Then they're like, would you be interested in doing a Skype interview? So I'm like, well, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
you're asking me to move along to the next process, and sure, why not? So I done a Skype interview with the girl that called me, and she said, "Okay, well, I think you'd be a decent fit, and you'll hear back." And I said, "Okay." Well, back then there wasn't a whole lot of people like there is now trying to get on there and shit.
Yeah, I think
And
I think for season 3, like 33,000 people
yeah,
applied for season 3,
yeah,
or that was season 2. 33,000 people
yeah.
applied.
Season 2.
Who knows what it was for season 3?
Oh, I bet I'm willing to bet it doubled. Willing to bet. But yeah, so she's like, "Well, you'll hear back one way or the other." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Well, I didn't.
So are you talking like forever before you like? Did it go so long that you were just like you forgot about it? Like,
Yes and no.
it was on the it put it on the back burner pretty much. Like, oh well, if it
Yeah.
happens, it happens.
And I was like,
So
man,
so you're not one of those people that call and check on it and
no,
bug and
no.
you sound like the type of person I'd be.
I think I may have called twice, and I did only because I heard of someone else
Okay.
that had got further along,
And
And
now during all this time, you're about to have a baby, or no?
maybe this may have been way before 2018,
Okay.
because it was before I even met Jenny.
Okay. So this was a couple years, where you almost a
Oh,
year and a half or so before you even
met her. Yeah,
even went on to the show. It was
yeah.
a year or so in the making. Okay.
And but yeah, so I reached out, and all of a sudden Noelle had left the company, McGill Entertainment, and I'm like, okay, well, and then there was someone else took over, and I said, hey, what's going on? And she said, oh well, we haven't made decisions yet, and we're not sure if we're going to move forward with it, and all that. So I said, okay, cool. Well, it was probably 2-3 months after that. I got a hold of Jimbo. I said, hey brother, I said, you when you head on down to Maggie Valley? He goes, well, I ain't going to Maggie Valley, man. I'm going over to film Master of Stiller. I'm like, are you shitting me?
That's like Jimbo you talked about. He filmed the pilot episode, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, are you shitting me? He's like, no, man. I'm like, well, hey, good luck, brother. So at that time, I figured they already had their 3 contestants figured out, who they wanted to be.
Yeah.
Oh, and also they called and asked me if I knew Chris Ewok. And I said, yeah, I know Chris. And they said, well, all right. And then that was the last I heard of them from the pilot episode.
See, like when somebody calls you and asks you, like, if you know somebody, you're always like, man, what do you say? So, like, when people ask me if I know Sean, I'm like, yeah, I don't like to tell people I do, but he's all right, dude, man.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to say the wrong thing,
Well, there's usually 1 or 2 reasons why they're asking you that. Either 1, they like the person, or 2, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you got to hit them with both. Like, he's all right, but I'll tell people.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at that time he was just getting ready to film or go on to the Moonshiner show. So he wound up not doing that. But anyway, I didn't hear nothing after that. Then they called me for season 1, and it was kind of the same deal. Hey, you interested in doing this? And I was like, well, yeah, sure, man. And I'd done the same thing, a phone interview, and then we scheduled a Skype interview, and on the same thing, they were like, yeah, just be yourself. So I was myself, and they acted like they enjoyed it, and they're like, yeah, we'll you'll hear from us. I said, okay. And I didn't.
He did for a while, and you're just like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'm just not who they want, man.
And I kept hearing,
put your phone in your pocket, Riggs. I know we're uncut, but damn, son.
So but then I seen Lawrence Pritchard from up north. He went and he filmed for season 1. And
now, Lawrence, he's out of Ohio, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
I knew, but
he's got a distillery up there in Napoleon, and then he'd moved on. Well, I'll say moved on. He had got in with Father John's microbrewery. I think it's a microbrewery or something. I don't know exactly where that's at. But he's also, running a little distillery out of there and all that. But He makes good liquor, and he unfortunately he lost. Well, I'll say he lost. He come in second to Jared on mezcal or something, but he's kind of like me. He never really made
Yeah.
that kind until filming. So
Hey,
you
but
don't really,
man, when you're
yeah.
you're jack of all trades and a master of none, you get it done every time. So
That's always the
figure it
plan
out.
anyway.
So at least you try to get it done.
Yeah. But anyway, so they filmed season 1. That went by. And season 2, I got a call from a fellow named Jake, and I was at work at Germain at the time. He goes, "Hey, this is Jake from Miguel Entertainment."
State Farm.
That's what you think. And he goes, "Hey, you still interested in filming?" I'm like, "Man, come on." I said, "Don't take this the wrong way." I said, "But until I get a date and time to play or a place to show up, I'm not really paying too much mind to it because
I've been
the
waiting
last
over a year and a half.
yeah." I said, "Last 2 times you guys got a hold of me, I never heard anything." And he's like, "Well." He said, "We're trying to get things buttoned up with COVID right now." And
At this time, are you pregnant with a short stack?
yep.
Okay.
She actually at that time, I'm trying to think, she was about 3 months old at the time.
Okay, so she was already born by then.
Yeah, so it's kind of a hard time for me to
Oh yeah,
figure out how to.
anybody that's raised a baby, in the
Yeah.
toddler, it's definitely it's a hard time. It's a hard time
Yep.
to walk away as a dad, and
And
I
I was
understand.
yeah, and I was gone for 9 days. But anyway, so he called and he said, "Yeah, if you were picked, I'm not saying you are, but if you were, would you be driving or flying?" I said, "Driving." So I'm only 5.5, 6 hours away from Gatlinburg. And he goes, "Well, it'd be right close to Gatlinburg."
I ain't getting no damn plane
Yeah.
anyways.
Well,
I don't care if I was on the other side of the world. Like I'm driving and taking a boat, but I'm
yeah.
not getting in no damn plane.
And it was kind of funny because that weekend we were actually getting ready to head down to Gatlinburg to get a cabin, and because they were going to do the um, that was supposed to be the weekend of the summer jam,
Okay.
but they canceled it because of COVID. But we still kind of had a little get together that certain people knew about, so we still went down and all that.
So did you guys go down to Gatlinburg, or did you go over to Maggie Valley and then Gatlinburg?
We got a cabin over in Gatlinburg.
Okay.
And then we just drove over to Maggie Valley.
I got you. I
So
love Gatlinburg, man. I take the family there every year. We used to go there as kids and camp and stuff. So it's always.
if things go right, I might get there this year. But anyway,
you guys can follow us over the mountain, and we're gonna go after the jam. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over Cherokee and
yeah,
feed the big bears, and then drive over to Gatlinburg and stay there Sunday after the jam. So
hell yeah. I mean, maybe they'll have my liquor there, and we can stop and pick some up on the way back. Sugarlands.
Probably not. I wouldn't think so in July. We got our fingers crossed for October, but
I'm shooting for it, man. I'm shooting for it. But anyway, so so we were down in Gatlinburg, right? And I got a call again, and he goes, "Hey, we want to go ahead and do a background check." And I'm like, "Okay, so does this mean I'm on it?" "Well, no. We're still just trying." I'm like, "Look, man. With all due respect, I got a 4-month-old baby. Like, I need to figure something out. If I can't come down there,
I need concrete. You can't expect me to come in 2 days and.
well, yep." And it he said, "Well, I can't say it, but you're in the running." I'm like, "Okay." So I told her, and we kind of planned for that to happen at a time we didn't know when.
So you still didn't have a time when.
No, nope. And so I done my background check. Like I told her, I said, my background check's good. I mean, So they done that, and then I talked to Jimbo, and he's like, "Yeah, they want you. If they're doing a background check, they're wanting you."
I've heard that the rumblings around, like, if they spend the money on a background check, then they're probably going to have you on eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he said. If something happens, it may not be now, but it'll be eventually. So, and just my luck, it was then, and he called me back. I was at work, and he said, "How do you feel about doing vodka?" And I'm like, if that's my only way on there, then I guess I'll figure it out. And after doing some research and talking to the right people, I found out that vodka is not always potatoes. Tito's is a corn-based vodka nowadays.
Now, when you first heard vodka, is that what you was thinking? Like potatoes,
Yep. But
potatoes.
yep.
Man, I've done a little vodka at home. About a keg's worth. And dude, after doing it, straining the potatoes and all that, you can see why they run vodka in jacketed stills.
Yeah.
Just so I don't have to strain anything, because man, it was brutal. And needless to say, I made potato vodka one time, and I will have only ever made vodka one time in my entire life, because I ain't doing it again. So,
I don't blame
unless
you.
I had a jacketed still.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't mind to try that sweet potato vodka. Like, what distillery was that?
Thomas down there at the Delta Dirt.
Oh man, that's
yeah.
That's really
good.
That's really good shit, man. Really
good.
good.
So when I did find out I was doing vodka, I had in my head one of two things. Either one, I was going to do sweet potatoes, because I like sweet potatoes more than normal potatoes.
You ever fermented sweet potatoes?
I've not.
Okay.
I have not. Or I was going to do straight sugar shine, and really make Dusty proud. But anyway.
But see, I was wondering about that, on the show. Like, nobody did a sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And which, I didn't know if maybe like you had to use a grain, or you could have rolled in there and just done sugar if you wanted.
Nope. Well, yeah, we could have done sugar. We could have done whatever. I don't think there was really any stipulations or whatever.
So, I mean, you could have made molasses vodka if you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying,
Yeah. But it was a good time, man. I was nervous as hell. I didn't really know what to do. And and when he called me back and he's like, "Hey, can you be down here?" I think it was the 1st of September is when I had to go down there. So, and then we were going to mash in on the 2nd. So I'm like, shit, that's 2 weeks. So I come up with 2 bills. I made both. Got a chance to run one. It was horrible. Dumped it out. And the other one, I didn't get to run because just I can't remember what happened, but life.
Yeah, they only gave you 2 weeks. Like.
Yeah, and but.
Now, how big were those mashes you made? Did you make a 30-gallon, 50-gallon?
I believe they were.
I know it wasn't 5 gallons.
No, I think I did 40.
Okay.
And 50-gallon barrels. Yeah.
And so you decided on more of a wheat-based vodka?
Yeah.
Was that it?
So the two that I had originally decided on, one of them, the one I dumped out, was half corn and half wheat bran.
Bran?
Yeah, wheat bran. And the cap on that pushed the lid off over under the damn side of the yard.
I bet, man. That bran, dude, you could stand on those caps.
Yeah. Talk about a challenge. You could put a damn truck on that.
Yeah, when everybody was doing that cap challenge on TikTok, I was waiting to see somebody fill up a barrel of wheat bran.
Yep. But then the other one was, it was a wheat based. I can't say exactly what it was, but it was a wheat, a corn, and a barley.
Okay.
And I had sugar in it. I can't,
Oh, we'll talk about the sugar. We'll talk about your sugar guy when we get there.
But it was not bad. I mean, it just had a lot of wheat to it. It was real earthy,
But also, when you ran it at home, you just went pot thumper condenser, right?
Yep.
Whereas, on the show, multiple times. So,
yeah.
And you definitely didn't have time or the yield to run it 3 more times and get
Right.
it to where you want. You were just mainly trying to get your fermentation,
mm-hmm.
Get your feet wet on what you were going to make. That way you had a clue when you went in.
Yep. So we actually had 5 days to ferment. And what a lot of people don't realize is if you heat your water, and depending on the amount of water they allow you to have to dump in to cool it down, you still have to wait until that, your whole mash barrel gets to the point to where you can pitch yeast. So
yeah,
we didn't pitch yeast till, I think we went down there to mash in at 7:30 in the morning. It was 7:30 or 6:30. I can't remember. But I don't think we pitched yeast till like 9 o'clock that night. and that just about threw off a whole day.
I bet.
You know,
So they call you in. You get your mash bill ready, and so you load all your shit up and you head on down.
yep.
And this was during 2020, so this was right during COVID, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
You got poked more times in a pincushion, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yep. I took one. It was pre-travel, post-travel, and then some people went to Gatlinburg about halfway through it, so I had to take another one.
Okay, so you had to take one before you left.
Mm-hmm.
It had to come back negative, and then you drove down, and then when you got there, you had to take another one.
Yes, sir.
And then did they quarantine y'all to like a hotel, resort style deal? You guys wasn't supposed to leave.
So they told us not to venture out around too many people. They said, do not, I repeat, do not go to Gatlinburg. But they did not say not to go to all the distilleries in Pigeon Forge.
They were probably thinking like, oh man, we're talking to a bunch of adults. We shouldn't have to say anything here.
Yeah. So all the other people, the first person I seen down there, unfortunately, he recently passed. His name was Stan Winskowski, peg leg. I was up on the, I got there and I went out on the balcony and he come out, looked up and he goes, "What the hell are you doing here?" I said, "Hopefully I'm not ready to beat you, but if I have to," and we got to talking and we went up and we started drinking on his rye. And, but yeah, he was the first person I seen, the only one I knew at the time. And, cause Doug had just left and, I stuck to myself for a day or two, probably a couple days.
You first get there, you don't really know anybody.
Right.
And I know the type of person you are. You're more reserved to yourself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. People would have been doing body shots off me the first night. Let's have a good time.
But see, what I did want to do was go around and try all the vodka that I could, at the local distilleries around there, because I kind of wanted to see what the people down there are going to expect, because, Tim Digger and
they all have a flavor profile that they look for. I think a lot of people, when they go on the show, they forget about that. Like, look, man, these dudes like it a certain way, and it's just like cooking somebody a steak. Like, if I'm cooking you a steak, I'm going to say, how do you like it done? And I'm going to cook it exactly like that, because that's how you like it. And then you're going to be like, man, that dude made me the best steak I ever had in my life.
Yep.
But if I cook it for you the way I like it, you might not like it.
Yep. Which was funny to me because, our second round, they're like, oh, we want the cleanest. We don't want this to taste like what you put in it. Right. Scott, that run he made, they said was some of the best shit they've ever had.
And that was the second run. That was before the infusion run.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you what he made, that run, tasted exactly like what he put in it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you can only strip so much flavor out of it, and you're trying to get that super high proof.
Yep.
So you're not really putting water in your thumper to clean it up to try to pull that flavor out. You're priming that thumper with something good because you're making vodka.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, it was a good time, man. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
So you mashed in, right? I heard that you had more sugar than the bees. I seen it on the show. That was one of the first things I noticed. I looked over there, right behind Sean. There's about 150 pounds of sugar.
It was 80. Get it correct.
Oh, okay. It was a while ago,
But anyway, I mean, so
now hold on. Did everybody give you shit about how much sugar you had?
Nobody at the judges panel.
That's all that matters, huh?
Better
to have it, not need it. So, did you use any of it in when you mashed in? Did you use any sugar?
Damn right I did. So when we went in there, them two guys, they added very little sugar, very little, and like you said, when I went down there, my goal was to make sure I had alcohol, and you know how easy it is to fuck something up and not get alcohol.
Do it all the time, man.
So my goal from the get-go going down there was don't look like an idiot on TV.
understandable. It's going to be there forever. You go in there and look like an idiot, and your kids got to see it eventually.
And grandkids and so on. So I took 80
Now,
pounds.
if you're making YouTube videos and you're intentionally looking like a dumbass, and it's all for good show and fun, so there's a big difference.
That's right. But so they aren't using any sugar. Well, Scott looks over and he made a comment. I said, damn right, I'd rather have it not need it than need it and not have it. So that was my goal. I was going to make sure I had sugar unless some reason my yeast was bad and it, wouldn't ferment out.
Ferment at all. My thinking would be like start high, and then if it doesn't finish, you still got a lot of alcohol. Whereas if you start low and it doesn't finish, well, you're fighting to pull jars.
So when we actually went, I think it was closer to the end, or no, what's his name? One of the distillers there, we would go in and he would check the gravity for us, and he let us adjust a little bit. We got a certain amount of water and we could dump water in.
Okay, so early on, they let you. Did everybody have to agree on how much water you could use? Like, all right, so everybody's allowed to use, say, up to 10 more gallons. Yep. Now, you don't have to use it, but that's the max you can use.
Exactly. See, we did, I think ours was 30 total. We done 15, and then we all agreed for 15 more.
Okay.
So when we went back.
I know from a couple guys, they said that they didn't let them adjust afterwards. It was what it was on the previous season.
Now, see, that's if that's the case, then they need to know that before they go in, because that's a huge change to any mash bill you're going to do.
Because you can't adjust. Now, were you only allowed to add water, and was you allowed to add sugar?
Just water.
So did you come in where you wanted to be?
Man, I was dead on.
Yeah, was it about 0.08, 0.07?
Yep. It was 1.075 in between there and 8. Nice. But now before we added the 15 gallons, I was way high.
Yeah.
But they said we'd have 30 gallons total. So I'm like, okay. So I did what I did. I dumped my hot water on it, added my sugar, and as soon as we dumped it on there and it cooled down a little bit, it was right where it needed to be. Added the old trusty bread yeast, and
instant bread yeast, man.
She was rolling.
That stuff will ferment anything, anywhere. And I've used it on some bananas, and I think that it adds a little nutty to it, a little nutty flavor on the back end that you don't get out of, say, Datey or Lauven or something like that. So I'm hooked on the Sap instant bread yeast. That's my go-to now. So.
Me too, man. Ray St. Clair got me started on that.
Now, our buddy Rick, he's all about the bread yeast, right?
Oh, yeah.
He preaches that bread yeast. We even brought all Hooch over to the bread yeast there for a minute until he got all fancy with the Fermax and all that. So,
if it's a sweet mash, man, and you're using grain, it'll take care of it. Is someone on here typing to us?
Yeah, I'll respond to them. It's cool. Hey, dude, it work. I've used it in grain. I've used it in fruit. I use it in Mountain Brandy. Half fruit, half grain. It hasn't not fermented anything. So
that's right. Hell yeah.
You fermented 5 days. You come back. Was you zeroed out in 5 days? You zeroed out in 5 days?
It was actually the 4th day. Mine was 1.000.
So by day 5, you're around 0.99 range.
Yep. When because me and Lorenzo went up there, and we can't go in. We had to have the distiller go in.
You got to be escorted. So he checks for you. You're not even allowed to see it during those 5 days.
Nope.
Now, what if say you had a pH crash? Would they let you come in and make adjustments?
Yep. You remember that nutrient and shit I give you? I think it was the nutrient or the whatever.
Yeah, you gave me some nutrients, some amylase, and there might have been some. I don't know.
I took all that shit down there. I knew I wouldn't need all of it, but I took it all down there just because, hey, rather have it than not need it.
Like 80 pounds of sugar.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and if anybody on here knows me, why wouldn't I use sugar? I like to get more out of the time I run it.
If you want alcohol, you're going to use sugar.
That's right.
I'm not saying you can't get good from just grain, it just takes so much grain, so much fruit. It's like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
let's just toss a pound per gallon of sugar in here. Let's bump this alcohol up and make this worth our time.
Yep. And the thing is, people are quick to dump 2 pounds per gallon, and if you don't need it, you don't need it. Why?
Yeah, and if you're converting anything like with your grains, and then if you've got your fruits, that 2 pounds is way too much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be hot. It's going to have a bite to it. So,
Yeah, I like.
after you
Go ahead.
ferment, right? The first run, you guys have you come in and did they already have still set up for you? Pot thumper weren't.
Yep, the first run they already had everything set up. They had the mash barrel back there, and they said you guys can go look in our little cabinets or whatever we have back there, and we went back there and looked in there, and they said, "Well, that's all you get." I'm sitting here looking for a damn pump.
Damn right, man. A hose to suck on and siphon it out or something,
And
man. Like,
I'm like, man, y'all
they handed
making
you
this difficult on me.
a bucket and a strainer, didn't they? It's like, get to work, bro.
Yeah, basically. And I strained it out twice. I'm like, I ain't trying to scorch this shit. So I got a bucket, threw a brew bag over it, and I dumped it in the bucket, and I threw a brew bag over in the pot. The what you call it, filtered it going through there, and I did like I normally do, man. I put the heat to it.
So, first run, did you prime your thump keg with mash?
Yes, sir. The very first run I did. Yep. It. I was trying to get as much alcohol out of it the first round I could.
Yeah, I mean,
I was nervous as hell, man.
Oh, I bet, man. Like you ain't never even made a YouTube video before that, and here you are on national TV, 30 cameras in your face, 400 degrees, sweating your ass off.
Oh yeah, it was a blast, man. I loved it.
And so after the first round goes, and then in the second round, is that when you guys got to choose still parts?
Yeah, yep. We handed in our jar of the first round, and I got the first pick on that.
Okay, so you was first in the first round, so you had first still pick.
Yep, and they said, "What are you going to get?" And I said, "The same thing I run at home. You ain't got jars in here. I'm running a pot thumper and a worm."
Yeah, I don't see jars in here, man. It worked in the first round. It's worked my whole life. It's what got me here.
Yep. Now
let's get it.
I was really hoping that there would be jars there because of running a vodka, and at the end it'd be infused vodka.
Oh yeah, just the flavor you could have got in there if you had 3 jars after that thump cake. Yeah. At the end, but that's neither here nor there. So you get it, and you guys you run it again, and that was when they told you, "Hey man, we don't want this to taste like anything."
Yeah, and my shit tastes nothing but straight wheat in that round.
Yeah.
And Tim's like, "Oh," he says, "No, too much wheat, too much wheat." I said, "Man, I never used this before, or I've never,
I do remember on the show when you was mashing in, he come up and asked about the wheat, and you're like, "Hey man, I'm using wheat, bro." Like me personally, I like wheat. I think wheat gives it that real dry mouthfeel to it, kind of like a dry wine.
Yeah,
so I really like wheat.
Yeah, it's not bad. If I had it to do over with, I'd have changed the corn to a rye in that recipe.
Really take that corn out of it, a strong corn flavor,
and just put the rye to it. Yeah.
So the second round goes on, and you and who got eliminated after the second round?
Thomas did.
Okay.
Thomas did only. Well, I don't want to say only because so the first round, we got to pick still parts. Thomas got the plate still because that's what he's used to doing.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember him saying, like, "Oh, this is what I use at home." And I think it was a lot smaller scale.
Yeah. And he ran it up too hot, too quick. And he tried to back it down. And at one point, he actually shut the still down. And
he had to light it back up.
He had to light it back up. And they just thought it was too hot.
Yeah.
And Mark was like, "Oh, Sean's got a better profile than, or his liquor is more,
Yeah.
my favorite, profile."
Your profile, they liked your profile better. And I wonder if the issues he had running the still played a part into it too,
Right. But, since then I've tasted his vodka and you've tasted it. And I'll tell you what, if he hit that shit should have won.
Yeah.
I mean, at least
That's how it goes in a contest, man. You know, one little thing, one small change, try something new, don't work out for you.
Yep.
Some people try stuff new and it works out great, and some people it really blows up in their face. They just,
Yep.
just don't work.
That
So
was
you so you make it in the final round, and this round they let you go out to the stand and pick infusion.
Yes, sir. We got to go
infusion.
out and pick berries. Well, and not necessarily berries, but whatever we wanted to put in for the infusion run, whether put it in a pot, put it in a thumper, hang it in the pot, or stuff it in the arm, whatever.
And so you went with berries.
Mm-hmm.
And he put some peppers in his.
Scott put pineapple and I believe jalapeno pepper.
Okay.
And we were, and I think, so that's what he done. And then if I remember correctly, I used strawberries and raspberries. I got a bunch of different shit in my bucket, but mainly that was just for me to eat along the way.
Bored, man. This shit takes hours. You got to do something.
I'm telling you. But, we were tasting each other's liquor, and I didn't get the flavor I had hoped for, as far as the berries and stuff.
Don't mind my big dog in the background.
Oh, no.
Go out of here, buddy.
But I tasted Scott's, man. I'm like, holy shit. He had a real nice pineapple nose on it, and the peppers come in towards the end, in my opinion. But I love pepper.
When it come down to the end, they talked about a big part of their decision was based on marketability. And you say it all the time, and you might as well say it again. Like, did he make better liquor than you?
If someone hands me both jars of liquor and I pick it up, as far as flavor goes, for my liking, hell yeah, he did.
Okay.
Hell yeah, he did. Now that may be because it's wheat, I don't know, but when before the third round, we were talking amongst each other before they started filming, and Tim was like, "Ooh, peppers,"
Tim don't like spicy. It reminds me of myself. I don't like hot. Like my level of hot is like mild sauce and Taco Bell.
Yep. And as soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh shit!" Well, I don't. And he kept rolling with it, Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna play it safe. When I hear of a vodka, I think of a berry infused vodka or a berry flavored vodka.
Yeah. You think of going to the store and they got all those flavored vodkas and usually sweet. Yep. And a lot of times when you take a neutral vodka and you mix it with something, it's usually fruity because that's what. So it makes sense. Like, oh man, if I'm going to infuse this, then I'm going to infuse it with fruit and make it because candy sells. It tastes like candy. It sells.
And there's a lot of things that they don't show. When Scott turned his jar in, it was way before me. I sat down there till the last minute. I had 2 jars in front of me, and I just couldn't decide on which one I wanted to hand in. Neither one of them were good to me.
I mean, me personally, I would turn in last each round. It gives you the most TV time. So I would definitely turn in last each round. It'd be the last second. I'd make them wait on me, and we'd shoot the shit and have a good time. And
that's right. But yeah, I was just nervous, man. I was sitting there, and Tristan walked through the back and just looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know. They both suck.
Yeah. Which one sucks the least? That's what you gotta ask yourself. Which one sucks the least?
And I just, a lot of people are real tight on their cuts, man, when they make liquor, but your flavor, you dip into your tails a little bit, you get a little bit of something out of there. And I added just a little bit of tails to the end of mine and, or the jar that I handed in.
Yeah.
And they didn't say nothing about it,
Hey, man, I tried what you turned in.
You had some.
You still got it. It ain't the best infused vodka you've ever tasted, but it's, it's good liquor, man. It's clean. And you definitely pulled all that weed out of there by the end of it.
Fuck, I'm telling you, man. I was trying to not get all the weed out of it, but it is what it is.
Once in a lifetime experience. Are you glad you did it?
That's a double-edged sword for me, man.
Well, did you enjoy yourself when you was doing it?
Dude, I had a blast.
Would you do it again?
Oh, if Kristen called me right now, I would pick the phone up and say,
That
when do you
tells
want
me
me
you
to?
enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I did. I loved it, man. And it wasn't necessarily so much for, everyone's like, oh, hey, I'm on TV, look at me.
Yeah.
But man, I've met so many cool people because of that. I met you, and it wasn't because of that, but it was, we
After
talked
that,
about
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like our paths would have crossed anyways, whether it was Master
eventually.
Stiller or not.
Yep,
So, especially you got old Patchy stalking me down.
that's right. But yeah,
So,
man.
you finally got to run legal liquor. So
Mm-hmm.
did you have to sign like paperwork and everything to make it to where you were legally allowed to run those stills?
Oh yeah, yeah. We were legal distillers for Sugarlands for a short amount of time.
Okay. Hey, you was there, man. That's all that matters. So, out of all the stills that you have run, what was your favorite?
Probably that one on national television.
Because you was on national television, and I could see that, like that would be mine. Like, oh man, that little 20 gallon I got to run on national TV. That was my favorite still I've ever run.
Yep. Only because, when you start doing this stuff and you kind of have a goal in mind, man, I'd love to do this, have it own a distillery one day. And then they're like, hey, you want to be on the show? And then all of a sudden you're down there and, and we were talking and Mark's like, do you realize like 4 million people are going to see you?
4 million people,
And it just kind of hit. And I'm like, damn.
Like, I look at our views off YouTube, and I think we're approaching 3 million total views and stuff like that. Or if you get a TikTok video to go viral, and like I got one to hit 5 million views, you're just like, dude, 5 million people seeing that.
Yep.
But just to sit there and think, because that's all after the fact, it's not like
Right.
they're telling you, and then they're like, you know what? Get your ass in front of that camera for those 4 million people and smile big.
Man.
And, oh yeah. Don't look like an idiot.
Yeah. It was real weird as far as that goes. And even like when it aired, because, people that I haven't heard of from, for a long time reached out to me. Hey, congratulations, and start asking questions, but it's, it was a great time. Like I said, if they asked me, I'd be glad to go back on,
If you're willing to go back on, and that means that, it was that once in a lifetime experience was amazing, and you'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
So
whether I lose or hurt someone's feelings, I'm definitely.
Yeah. Like for me, if I was that, ever be good enough to get on there, then it would just, for me, it's about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
You go in not so much worried about winning or losing. It's about meeting these people and having experience, and just, and I bet you learned a lot. I bet you learned a lot during those 9 days while you was there.
Unimaginable.
Yeah.
How much, and it was a lot of shit that I really didn't even care to know. Like bourbon. I don't drink bourbon. I learned more that week about bourbon than I'll ever know the rest of my life or learn the rest of my life.
Good knowledge to have. Better to have it, not need it.
So. Exactly. And yeah.
Well, man, that was I've heard bits and pieces, a little here and there. So it was really cool to have you sit down and tell the whole story from beginning to end, and how it went down and your long wait. So I think the final question here is when's your liquor dropping? That's what we all want to know. Like, I want to plan a trip down to Gatlinburg with you. We're going to get drunk on it right there on the strip and have a good time. So
hold on a minute.
Need a drink on that one.
I don't know yet.
Okay. Now I know it's been a while. Coming up on a year and a half now since your show debuted. A little over a year and a half, really.
It'll be 2 years in September.
I know that COVID probably threw everything for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
For them, really slowed everything down. But just it's kind of the patience, man. Patience is a virtue, and
yeah.
You got a 2-year-old daughter, man. You might as well just start practicing now, man.
Oh yeah, but I'm just a thorn, man. I'm gonna keep on them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I know shit happens,
But good things come to those who wait. So be patient, and when the time comes, it'll it'll be magical. It's gonna be another once in a lifetime experience that you can share with your family and hopefully a couple
Yeah.
of good friends. And
Yep. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to taste it, see what it's like. I mean,
oh yeah, I got about that much left of that jar you gave me, and we are so comparing them just to see. And
oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
sure
yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do a great job on it. So I look forward to
Yeah.
it.
I know. They can't do any worse. So for
From
the
your
people
mouth
that
to
don't,
God's ears, man.
for the people that don't know, like well, never mind. That's for another episode.
Yeah, you just sometimes you make something that you don't like that other people like. So I think we'll
You're
leave it
your
at
own
this.
You're your worst critic.
Always, and people tell you how good your stuff is, and you're like, yeah, I don't know about that, man. Don't lie to me.
That's more thing. One thing I did want to say about that, as far as the show, because beforehand, I didn't really know. I'm like, yeah, that's all right, and I taste other people's stuff. I'm like, man, that's a lot better than mine. But and then how your friends are. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the things I do, man. Like if I go somewhere like a wedding and I supply the alcohol or something, what I'll do is I won't let anybody there know that I made the alcohol because I'm there. And you want honest opinions? Well, they're not going to tell that big ass dude his liquor sucks. He's sitting there. They're going to lie to you. It's a cordiality thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I feel like blind taste testing is always the way to get the best feedback.
That's right.
Because nobody feels like they're going to hurt your feelings, even though people like us, we don't have feelings to hurt.
Yep.
But most people don't understand that. But
yep. And when it aired, they the judges talking, we weren't standing there. And when they're actually trying it, and when Digger tasted it, and he looked over, he goes, "That's good liquor," and I'm like, "That's all I need to know."
Oh yeah, legend tells you that you made some good liquor.
Yep,
that's all you need to know.
And that was one run through a thumper with, no rerun.
Yeah.
So, and that's with sugar.
Gotta love that sugar
and bread yeast. But anyway, go ahead.
I think we've got people on here a long time, man. Your story took a little while.
Oh,
Not that that's a bad thing. It's another good episode. We definitely appreciate anybody who's listening or tuning in to watch us.
Thank you.
We're going to do a few more episodes before we get guests on. So,
but we do have a plan of guests and names of guests and people that are already willing to be on, and y'all are going to love the shit out of it because, yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Keep tuning in, and we'll keep putting them out. And we hope you all have a good night. And shine on.
Shine on.